I'm Mable Barbee Lee. I was born in Silver Reef, Utah in 1884 to John and Kitty Barbee. My sister Nina was born 2 years later. I resembled my father with my reddish-brown hair and blue eyes. Had his disposition too. Loved to run away and explore, especially with all the silver mines around. Life was good and Dad's mine was doing okay. Then one day disaster struck our family. Nina had fallen into a rain barrel and drowned. It wasn't too long after that Dad's mine had exhausted, but he had heard of the gold in Cripple Creek. So in 1892, we moved here. Dad came up first, then Mom and me. I'm a very lucky girl. On our stage trip up the mountain, we were held up by bandits. Now my uncle had given me a silver dollar for the trip, and I thought I was going to be really clever and hide it in my mouth, not realizing that it was too big and you could see it a little bit. Well, of course the bandits, they laughed at me, and instead of taking my silver dollar, one of the bandits took a silver dollar out of his satchel, put it in my mouth with mine, and looked at me and said, "Okay, pug nose, don't try any funny tricks again." Made it to Cripple Creek. We lived in a tent with a store door and an adjoining half window. Brother Billy was born a short time later, and I called him Billy. Mama was concerned about raising a daughter in the mining camps. She wanted me to be a lady. She forbade me to go down to Myers Avenue where the bordellos were. But being the normal little girl that I was, I couldn't resist peeking up the alley. And sometimes the shady ladies leaning out the upper windows would wave at me and smile. I had to keep my eyes straight ahead when passing a saloon on Bennett Avenue, but they smelled so bad that I didn't mind hurrying by. And I couldn't go to the National Hotel because that's where all the important people stayed, and they didn't want any little girls around. I was also lucky in the fact that I was immune to most of the diseases that came through the camp that took a lot of the children. My dad called it the iron constitution of the Barbies. I remember the fires of 1896. We kids were told to go up to the pond at Freeman's Placer. We were living on Eaton Street now, just below the city hotel, or his city hospital, which is now St. Nicholas. The men were setting off dynamite in the houses in the path of the fire to keep it from spreading. Mom said, nope. She took down Dad's rifle, stood on the porch, aimed it at the men, and said, "You are not blowing up my house." Mom was talk of the town. She saved our house. I remember the big train wreck and Carrie Nation invading Johnny Nolan's. I was 13 when Madame Pearl de Vere passed away. It broke my heart. I used to watch her drive around in her carriage with big red wheels. I thought she was the loveliest lady in the world. But Mom and I went down to Bennett Avenue and watched the funeral procession. I cried and cried because it was so beautiful. In 1901, Dad struck Sylvanite, a silver and gold compound, saying, "I finally outwitted the Tommyknockers." That fall, I got to go to Cutler Academy. I graduated in 1902 and immediately enrolled into Colorado College. I lost Mom in 1904 and Dad in 1905, but I went on to get my Bachelor of Arts thanks to the townfolk of Cripple Creek. There was a fish bowl at the local pharmacy that said, "For John's girl." I heard there was also one at Johnny Nolan's. After getting my degree, I taught at Victor High School for 2 years, Lowell Thomas being one of my students. during that time that I met and fell in love with Howard Lee, a mining engineer. We got married and we traveled around to several different mining camps over a 10-year period. We also had a daughter we named Barbara. After Howard passed on, I embarked on a career in education. After my tenure at Colorado College, I became Dean of Radcliffe College in Massachusetts. In 1931, I founded Bennington College in Vermont and served as its director for 6 years. I was then Dean of Whitman College in Washington and at the University of California at Berkeley, ending that career in 1951. In 1959, I was on This Is Your Life as they recognized Lowell Thomas. During the years of 1958 to 1970, I wrote 5 books about my life in Cripple Creek and college, Cripple Creek Days being my first and most famous book. The town named me Chronicler of Cripple Creek. I passed away December 12, 1978 at the age of 94, and my headstone has that epitaph on it. I am laid in the Mason's Rest as Dad was of the Masonic organization, and Mom became a member of the Eastern Star, as did I when I grew up. If you're interested in my books, they are available at the District Museum, libraries, and other stores. Thank you.